Welcome to the high banks of Talladega, live here on GSRC, as we're here for the FEG PC 25 laps at Talladega. Good evening, everyone. My name is Derek Watson, joined here tonight by Reese Gardner with Ryan Bauer behind the cameras. And then, of course, cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Reese, we got 25 laps at Talladega and the NASCAR Next Gen cars up here on this schedule. What are you expecting to see tonight?
I'm expecting to see carnage, to be completely honest with you. NASCAR at Talladega is always a very dangerous combination, but these guys are racing for money, so I would hope that there is a little bit of professionalism here. The race is pretty short, though. This is the first in a series of multiple races that they're running tonight, and we're going to be broadcasting the very first of them.
The very first one, indeed. Well, I suspect this is not the first one for many of you seeing Talladega, but in case it is, before we go any further, let's go ahead and hit the GSRC track guide and take a look at Talladega.
Welcome to Talladega Superspeedway. Not satisfied with his incredible accomplishments with Daytona, Bill France Sr. plucked up a plot of land in Alabama east of Birmingham and had one goal: make it faster. At 2.66 miles and with 33 degrees of banking, he succeeded. Not only is the banking steeper and the lap longer than Daytona, but the track itself is wider as well. As you'd expect, this makes for one of the most unique styles of racing motorsports has ever seen. The slipstream allows drivers to stay with one another so easily that it becomes less about the speeds each driver can reach and more about the strategy of racing in a pack. Bump drafting is a technique in which the car behind actually pushes the car in front so that both are able to reach higher speeds. And side drafting is another in which the drivers use the air off the sides of their cars to slow their opponents down. Staying out of trouble is always a difficult aspect of superspeedway racing, and it's not uncommon to see drivers intentionally move to the back of the pack to avoid the chaos. In fact, the high speeds make large wrecks so hard to avoid that the term "the big one" has become commonplace to refer to the almost inevitable multi-car pileups the circuit is known for. Also, entering pit lane is its own skill, which requires practice in order to slow the car up as quickly and safely as possible. Keeping the car clean and in contention is the main goal for much of the event. Then the final few laps, it's a race to the line, with any alliances usually dissolving and the driver's urge to win taking over. Known for gobbling up cars and ruining a driver's good day in the blink of an eye, Talladega truly holds the title of the biggest and baddest track on the NASCAR circuit.
That is the GSRC track guide for Talladega, and we are about 1 minute left here qualifying. But let's take a look at the track, Reese. It's 33-degree banked corners and 2.66 miles, or 4.28 kilometers, might feel more familiar to you, Reese. It's wide open racing, and it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, Talladega is just about the quickest oval in the United States. Super long, high banking, and yeah, as you say, very wide. There's a lot of space for racing, especially on the tri-oval coming up to the start-finish stretch. Interestingly, Talladega's start-finish line just past the tri-oval, which you don't usually see when it comes to ovals of this configuration. It's a lane wider in that section, which means there's probably going to be some big moves going on there at the start, potentially the finish of the race as well. But it's all about avoiding the wall and keeping yourself in the slipstream. You have to keep in that draft group.
I would agree with that. Well, let's take a look at the race details and show you what we're up for tonight. This is a special event being put on by FEG PC, Ford Entertainment Group. It's 25 laps. It's a fixed setup, so it's all about the driver, not about the car. There's no spare cars here, so if you wreck it, you are done, and cautions are on. So with that said, qualifying has just wrapped up. We could probably go ahead and take a look at the grid and see where we're going to line it up here, Reese. And we'll start up here on the front row. It's Kenneth McCullough Jr., very, very successful in these races under the Ford Entertainment Group, with Sean Hill on the outside. Then Alejandro Montes Doca there in third, with Sean Corbett in fourth, Joshua McCullough, and then Ron Morris Jr. in row 3. Row 4 is Danny Eichmann and John Darnell, the third. And then John Mollahan and Mike Bearden round out row number 5, Reese.
They do. Paul Harrell and Brandon Arciero are starting in 11th and 12th. The 7th row taken up by Tony Cox and Andrew Navarro, who is one of the contenders in the eNASCAR scene. Dylan Basin joins him there. On row 8 with John Ward, Noah Turpak and William Scott Jr. will be rounding out our field. And, well, it's a solid 18-car field here tonight, Derek, and we have some pretty interesting conditions out there. That is a very hot track temperature.
It's a very hot track indeed. 128 degrees Fahrenheit or 53 degrees Celsius. It will make things a little slick as we get in and out of the corners or through the tri-oval. So that's what's going on right now. Race Control is giving their final briefing to the drivers, just reminding them to race hard but race safe as we sit on the grid here. Of course, it's a long pace lap race once we get pulled off this full track pace lap at the new updated pace speed, by the way. And the last iRacing update, iRacing give us a gift, and they updated the pace speed here, I believe, to 70 miles an hour. That doesn't sound like a lot, but it's an increase of 10 miles an hour, and it really does help how long the pace laps are here.
Absolutely. So if we're under caution, it should come a little bit quicker before we get back to racing, of course. You can join these races. Discord up on the screen. There's QR codes as well to scan if you're interested in joining these races. Really awesome to see the support that FEG Custom PC has lent to these races, and it's definitely attracted a nice roster of drivers.
A nice roster of drivers indeed, and they vary in size, so every race is a little different. They do have multiple races. I think there's 3 of them on the docket tonight, Reese, and we're just going to cover the first one live here on GSRC. Well, with these NASCAR next-gen cars, they are maybe not the most effective at the draft compared to the trucks or the Xfinity machines, Reese. What do you think your key to victory is in a 25-lap race?
Survival. It's going to be an out-and-out sprint here. It's pretty much the length of Carb Cup races and stuff like that. You know, you're racing for a very short time around Talladega, a 53-second lap time in qualifying. That should result in a race that runs a little under half an hour if we go caution-free. But of course, these guys are racing for cash prizes. It's probably going to be some very stiff competition, and there might be some mistakes made in the heat of battle.
Might be some mistakes made indeed. But we're watching you around here as the pace car is leading the field around at that 70-mile-per-hour pace. And I mean, it looks faster compared to what I'm used to with that old 60. I know it said it's not a lot, but it will make a difference here. Well, here we are. This is going to be out the turn 4. The pace car is going to pull down. It's Kenneth McCullough and Sean Hill. This is Sean Hill on the outside we're riding on board with. You see the pace car is down. Any moment now as they come through the long tri-oval. Look at that word for the green flag. Barney the flagman's just about ready. There it is. Green flags in the air at Talladega. Kenneth McCullough Jr. and Sean Hill lead us to the green flag.
Looks like a pretty good start for Sean Hill. Round the outside, takes the lead right away and immediately gets ahead of Kenneth McCullough, and they will start that draft train on the bottom. And we already see a high line forming with Sean Corbett leading the way as well.
That's right. That's Josh McCullough in the 8 behind pushing. And look, there's a high lane forming already here. But look at that. The 8's now up in there. 3 wide on the back straight. It's not even fully lap 1 yet. We're halfway through, and they're 3 wide here. And the 11 is stuck in the sucker hole.
Yeah, that's a shame there for Sean Corbett. He's going to lose some spots from there. He needs to find a place to slot in and try and get in the draft. And we've already got it. Oh, yep, car on the wall. That's John Darnell. Unfortunately, he's gotten into the safer barrier, and it seems like he's having some trouble keeping it out of the wall.
Oh, he may have some trouble of his own. The good news is he kept the race green. As we see now the ticker appear on the left side of your screen. You can see it here. It's Hill, McCullough, and Mansdoka. 1, 2, 3, and 4 here as we finish lap 1. And look at this top 3. They are lined up. 2 McCulloughs and Sean Hill are trying to dominate this race.
Yeah, the top three have broken away, and it's going to be up to the drivers in fourth on back to try and work together to catch up to them. Alejandro Montes de Osa is currently getting pushed a little by Ron Morris Jr. for that fourth spot, but they are all on their lonesome right now. The more cars that are in a pack here at Talladega, the better the overall speed of the pack is, and actually looks like they're starting to catch up, so we will see a top 5 group here at the front.
Yeah, that drafting line will continue to catch up here. What's important for the cars in the back, which are 3 wide again, with the 11, the 4, and others back there, is they need to get in line. If they form a line, whether it's top line or bottom line, in a long line of cars, they can't be competitive, Reese. It's about making that decision to not race yet and to be willing to get up to the front. See, we are now lap 3 of 25 here live at Talladega. A little door banging right there in the back of that line. Not sure what that was, just not clear, or what that was about.
Yeah, Noah Turpak, he was going for the inside, but there was no draft for him, so I think he was trying to slot in front of John Molahan, who had a big head of steam going. So on board with Molahan right now, up behind Ron Morris Jr. It looks like the top 6 are now the front pack at the front. And we're starting to see an actual consistent row of cars form here. Single line at Talladega for the time being. How long are they going to stay like that is the question.
That is definitely a question. Right now it's Hill, McCullough. That's not changed. In fact, most of this line is still the same as it has been. It's just now they've caught up here. And the question is, when will they make that move? Now, a lot of drivers right now in across iRacing, Reese, believe the top line to be faster. I'm not sure if that's the case, if it's actually faster, or if it's just the line that more drivers want to run.
Yeah, I mean, there's been updated aero models in recent months that mean that you actually get a draft effect from the wall that actually pushes you a little bit and slows your speed. But of course, Talladega being such a high bank super speedway, sometimes you want to be up the top there in order to ramp off the banking when you come off the corners. That gives you a tiny little speed boost, as we see in the back, falling back into line, Dylan Basin. He was another driver that had a run at going for the inside, but again, no one wanted to join him.
No one wants to join him yet. They're all kind of biding their time. If you mistime this run and you jump down early and you're alone, you'll really mess it up. But there's that now car, 3 cars in a row here, and they're going to try to make the run on the bottom and make it happen here. Let's see if they can catch up here.
All touch for the lead. Oh, Sean Hill almost got spun there. It looks like the bottom line has got that momentum going. That is a beautiful run there from Noah Turpak, Matthew Lee, and Brandon Arciero.
And Turpak was on the radio comms in iRacing asking were people willing to make the move. He wanted to see if he could make it happen. And are they going to slot up at the top of the line here? I think so. They're going to get back in line and abandon the cars who helped them get there. Now, Reese, talk about that for a second. The mental effect of racing here. When you abandon a draft mate like that, that can come back and bite you, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely it can. You know, it's all about, it's basically 200-mile-an-hour chess that these guys are playing at the moment, and they've got to try and avoid contact. We got a car down on the apron. It looks like that's Turpak. Yeah, unfortunately, losing it through the corner, potentially contact with another car, and he has lost a ton of speed. He's going to drop off the back of this train if he's not careful.
Yeah, he's basically already off it. Now we're watching Sean Hill here. He's going to get pushed all around by Kenneth McCullough Jr. And you see that red, white, and blue. That's a traditional paint scheme. You'll see Kenneth run in some form all throughout the NASCAR vehicles. And he's just all over that car and bumping in the corners. There's another hot topic, Reese. Bumping in the corners at a super speedway.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Talladega, it's flat out through the corners, no matter if you're in the draft or not. And the amount of speed that you gain in the draft can result in some heavy contact to the rear of the car in front if you're not careful. And these guys are trying to navigate these turns. It's they're on a knife edge at the moment. Remember, they are driving fixed setup as well, so there's no telling just how snappy the cars might be if they make that contact.
That's right. Dylan Basin once again trying to make the move on the bottom. Now he's going to get some help here. And nope, never mind. That was a very temporary move. Is that Sean Hill making? I can't, let's see here. No, sorry, that's Matthew Lee. I got the name wrong. I apologize. That's Matthew Lee. He dips down there and sort of fakes the move. And I'm not sure if he's just trying to use every draft possible or if he just can't make up his mind, Reese, on what he wants to do.
I mean, if you're going to make a decision, you have to commit to it and at least test it out. We do see that Dylan Basin tried to run the bottom, but again, he's all alone down there and no one joining him, and he loses about 10 miles an hour in speed as a result, so he's fallen to the back of the pack once more.
He's now fallen in behind Ron Morse Jr., and if they're not careful, they're going to lose that pack. Now, speaking of losing the pack here, this is Mike Bearden back here in P14. Losing the pack is sort of a strategy for some drivers, Reese. There are cautions in this race. By the way, look at that livery. Can we talk about that for a second? Let's talk about that. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that
it's a lovely livery.
Like Grateful Dead era livery right there. Oh, the Joker, that's what it is. That's beautiful. That is, someone put a lot of work into that and deserves some praise for that. But I was going to say, one of the strategies at Talladega is to fall off of the draft here. Maybe that first wreck happens and you can avoid it, and then you're up in it, you know, ready to race again. Now, these guys right here, look at them already going all the way around this track. This is that group here. It's Ward, Navarro, Harrell, Corbin, and Bearden. And they're just waiting for something to happen, because if this race stays green for all 25 laps, they'll finish well in the back. But if a wreck happens, maybe they can benefit from it.
Yeah, that's the chance they're taking. I mean, you think about chess. I mean, it's all about thinking about what your opponent is going to do, and they're probably not 100% on whether or not a wreck is going to happen up at the front. I mean, they're racing pretty cleanly so far, so it's looking less and less likely. We're 10 laps into the race now, and it's probably time to try and start making the run up to that pack, just in case the race continues staying green. Dylan Basin making the call to run bottom, so let's see if they manage to make that catch-up done.
That was a backwards unit from, this is Dylan Basin here, sorry, this is Dylan Basin. He's now with Brandon Arcerio, Noah Terpak, and Tony Cox is the draft line they had, but that's the 4 car, Tony Cox, they just went by on the outside. So this is the 4 cars they're now trying to run with. They need to be hooked up 100% after lap 11 if they want to catch back up here, or they're going to have to just suffer the fate of not being in the lead pack. We see Terpak here in the back view here. Behind him is pretty far back to the next driver here. Let's wait and see what happens. We're finishing lap 11 here through the tri-oval. Thanks so much for hanging out here on GSRC on a Friday night and watching along here as the Ford Entertainment Group puts on this race for you to watch. And wow, look at them all around here, just up and moving around here. Wow, that is the leaders right there, Reese. That was not in sync.
And they've switched to the bottom. Interesting to see. I think maybe they've decided the top is not worth running anymore, and now they're going for the shorter line around the track. Are they going to move back up to the top here? No, they are not. So solidly sticking to the yellow line. Significant point that I wanted to bring up, Derek, is prizes. The top 7 positions are paid from the info I was given before the race. So there's going to be a lot of competition here in the top 6 to see who gets the biggest cash prize. But right now, Noah Terpak leading that second pack. He is in the last paying position right now.
And you're now riding on board partner Sean Corbett with the Baby Yoda livery. He is now going to be pushing around and seeing who he can get to the front here. That is going to be Andrew Navarro, eNASCAR Contender Series driver. Right in front of him. You know what, Reese, if I were willing to ride behind someone, I'd want to pick an eNASCAR Contender. That man has raced all season long through Road to Pro or the Coke Series and is trying to make it to the top level. That's a good person to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. You can put a lot of trust in a pro driver around a track like this. They certainly know how to execute it. And, you know, someone like me coming from a road racing background, it's always a bit foreign to me seeing how drivers conduct themselves on ovals, but there is a proper strategy to trying to run these tracks properly, work the draft as well as you possibly can. It's not just a case of going for moves whenever you can. You sit in the draft, you wait for the opportunity, and then in the last few laps you can go for it. We are halfway through the race, 12 laps to go, and they're still in lockstep at the front of this field.
But I do believe with the size of the fuel tanks in this race, Reese, we were told we're expecting it to possibly be a pit stop in this race. So this is not just calm and collected as it looks here. We're just about the halfway point here. I would think a half of gas tank, we're going to be about 7-8 short. And I'm already hearing talks of pitting across the driver radio. Look at Barney the flagman just watching on here. That's the best seat in the house, Reese.
Oh, absolutely it is. You can pretty much see the whole track from that point as well. And of course he'll have good advanced view of any wrecks that happen in the tri-oval. So yeah, drivers talking about pitting here. Will any of our top pack decide to go in here? It's likely to be a green flag pit stop, considering we haven't seen much drama here so far. If there was a caution, you would say that everyone would come into the lane, but green flag pit stops, that can introduce quite a bit of variance. Here they go, coming into pit lane. Who is latest on the brakes? Who's bravest? A bit of a lock-up from the three in the back of the pack, but it looks like they all slowed down.
Look at Ron Morris Jr. He made up a lot of space there by being late on the brakes. As I look across the scoring so far, we have one black flag. That's for John Ward.
Oh dear.
That must be probably for speeding. And so he'll have effectively end his race without a yellow flag coming out. But we'll wait and see how this race off pit road goes. Be gas only, I can guarantee you. With how little gas we, no one's going to put tires on this vehicle, and off they go.
And it looks like Sean Hill wins the race out of pit road. Kenneth McCullough second, Matthew Lee in third. And Lee has been massive in his run up the field. 16 places gained up into third.
Yeah, Matthew Lee made a great run through the field here at the start, and now it's holding on to. That's who we're looking at in the back here out of Kenneth McCullough. That's the front of Kenneth McCullough looking on to the driver in front of him. That'll be Sean Hill up in front. Look at him already bumping. Doesn't take long. They're already making contact, Reese.
Yeah, trying to get up to speed as much as possible. Slip up behind someone in the draft, give them a bump, increase their speed. Tell you what this has done, it's actually compressed the pack a little bit. The top six are still well and truly together, but 7th and 8th, Ron Morris and Alejandro Montes de Osa, they have started to catch up here as Tony Cox brings it into the lane again. No black flag, so I think there might have been a mess up in the pit cycle there.
Yeah, I'm guessing he missed the memo. Like that scene from The Office, you know, yeah. I think he should have copied that memo, because I think he missed out the first time around. Or Office Space, not The Office. Sorry, wrong Office show there in my reference.
Oh dear. One day I'm going to get that reference. I've always wanted to watch Office Space.
Oh my goodness. You have homework, Reese Gardner.
I do. I do indeed. I do indeed. I actually need to watch The Office properly as well. I've seen clips and I've really enjoyed it, but I haven't sat down to watch the show properly.
There you go. Well, speaking of homework, there's a lot of drivers studying what's going on in front of them right now, as we're now 9 laps to go, about to be 8, and they're wondering one question, Reese Gardner: when do I make the move? When do I pull out? When do I draft? When do I bump someone? When do I make it happen?
8 laps to go. It's definitely too early now, as Dylan Basin goes for the fastest lap. He's managed to work his way up into 5th. Remember, we saw him trying to make moves early on and drop off the back of the pack. So now this is probably the start of his setup for a potential run at the lead. It's only going to be a few minutes left of racing. So try and set yourself up now. But I would say you wait until the final lap to really stake your claim.
I would agree with that. But what's going to happen here, our first bit of drama, it looks safe for now, but our leaders are coming up on their first lapped cars of this race. And we know lap cars can provide a little bit of drama at Talladega, but look at them. Look at all that space. They're being respectful and kind, and they're all the way to the top. Our leaders are all the way to the bottom. They think this is going to go just fine for the top 5 here.
Alejandro Montes de Osa reporting in SimText chat that his temperatures are rising, so it looks like sixth on back has started to drop off, as now that back pack of Ward, Scott and Darnell have fallen behind our leaders and are trying to keep the pace up.
Yeah, so on your digital dashboards in your NASCAR next-gen vehicles, you will get a bunch of numbers and some blinking numbers, red or yellow. They do not allow us to show them on the broadcast for privacy purposes, but you see them right there. The zeros for the drivers, those will be real numbers. And they'll first be white and then yellow, and then they'll start blinking red, Reese Gardner. And any time in technology something is blinking red, that's not a good sign.
No, it's not. Look at that from Dylan Basin. He makes the move up to the high line, and he is joined by John Ward, who, as we mentioned, is a lap down. Unfortunately, no one's joining Basin again, so he is dropping back.
Now, Basin now has one vehicle pod behind. That's going to be the 92 of John Ward, who is a lap down, as he said. We'll see if he sticks with him. These two cars could get together and have an impact here. Let's see if it happens here. That's Basin up on the top left here. Now they've got two cars behind him. If they get committed, Basin could get through the field here, but they're not committed to what's going on yet.
Yeah, I think for Basin, what he needs to hope for is that someone in front of him decides to go for the high line, and then he can join them and make the run. But look at that, off the corners, he immediately switches to the high line again. And, well, John Ward is giving him a little bit of help. They are drafting up to the leaders. This is a bit more of a successful run for Basin this time around.
Yeah, got that great momentum run out of the corner. And got the drafting help here. Now it's gone, but he'll get it back in a second. Be patient, young man. Don't go anywhere. Stay right there on that run, and you'll slowly look at that gap here. What it did is it caused the gap between the 8 car and the top 3. Now him and the 92 can pull in here and suck up that draft and make a run again out of the corner here. They're making successful strides. Watching him pull out again here.
Yeah, Paul Harrell in 14th, getting a good view of that as the field comes by to lap him, and Harrell will fall back into the battle with Ward, Scott, and Darnell. John Ward setting the fastest lap. No surprise there. He is right in the middle of this draft train.
Look at the 04 now backed up a little bit on the inside. You can see it there to the left of your screen, or that gap. That gap in the draft will allow Dylan Basin to continue to be effective here, but he's got to be patient. Don't give up. Suck in that draft and get back to the outside if you want to make this work.
Coming up to 3 laps to go now at Talladega, and this is a very intense battle, isn't it, Derek? This is fantastic. I'm loving this. Those attempts by Basin to try and get to the front of the field. He is stuck at the back of the pack at the moment, and I think he's just giving the opportunity to let things calm down a little bit, wait to see what the drivers ahead of him do. But you notice that he is making the best run out of turn 2 and trying his best to get to the front of the train, but again, it just looks like he's waiting for the time being. 3 laps to go. That is when things start to get interesting. That's when the gauntlet is thrown down.
2 1/4 laps to go here at Talladega, and the good news for Dylan Basin is he's already sort of done the advertising research. He's already sort of said, hey, I can do this. So if you're ahead of him, you kind of have the confidence in knowing he should be a good pusher to get you around. 2 laps to go at the line. 1 more lap car to the outside. Well to the outside, not going to be a factor. And right now your top 5 are in line with John Ward and the 92. They're technically in the P6 spot, although he's not P6. And we'll see if he plays a factor in who wins this race. Now remember, the yellow line does exist in NASCAR at the super speedways. There's no passing below it. So we'll wait and see if that does come into play or not. But right now, Sean Hill, right now, Reese, is wire to wire, your leader, all race long.
Yeah, he's been doing really well, hasn't he? But he is going to be the one in trouble here as we're coming up to the start of the final lap. This is where everyone's going to try and go for the lead from here. So what kind of strategy do they follow? 1 more lapped car to pass in the form of Tony Cox, and the closing speed is always immense, but the white flag is out. Now we see who is the bravest.
Now we'll see who's the bravest indeed. Kenneth McCullough, one of the most successful drivers across these FEG PC races. We'll see if he has the move to want to pull out and race, or if he wants to follow behind and push Sean Hill. Here's the bump. He's going to try, I think, to get Sean Hill a little bit further ahead and then use that draft against him here. And by using the 04 of Matthew Lee, now down into 3 and 4 for the final time. White flag is out here at Talladega. Dylan Basin to the outside is going to try to make the move. He's currently up to 4th, now up to 3rd. Hill's contact with the 04. Up to 2nd, McCullough. Hill's going to try to block. Contact. And it's going to be Sean Hill winning at Talladega.
Wow. That was a good move there right at the end to block Dylan Bazin. I think if that hadn't happened, Bazin would have at least been side by side with him across the line. That was a lovely, clean race.
That's a great, clean race. And honestly, the big concern, watch the replay again here and see what happens. Look at, there's Dylan Bazin outside, has that pusher, the lap down car. And I was convinced right here they were going to wreck it, but they don't. And man, what a move by Dylan Bazin. Improved his spot up to P4 as they cross the line. That's an incredible finish.
Yeah, that was a fantastic finish indeed, but I think Sean Hill should be very happy with how things have gone here. That's going to be a cash prize for him. Beautiful stuff.
Beautiful stuff indeed. Wow, a clean race, wire to wire at Talladega. That should be celebrated all on its own. But speaking of celebrating, Sean Hill is going to do some donuts here on the paved infield of Talladega Super Speedway. What a great race. You deserve to celebrate. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the finishing grid and see how everyone did here as we're watching Sean Hill do some more burnouts. That's elation right there, Reese. He's just stoked that we did it. But let's take a look at race results. It's Sean Hill with Kenneth McCullough Jr. in 2nd, Matthew T. Lee in 3rd, Dylan Basin up to 4th for that incredible move. Joshua McCullough fell back to 5th. Andrew Navarro up to 6th place, by the way. Then Brandon Arcurio, Ron Morris Jr., Sean Corbett, and then Noah Turpak rounds out your top 10, Reese.
Yeah, and the top 10 all finished on the lead lap. John Ward up 5 spots to 11th. Mike Bearden losing 2 spots in the final laps there as the lead pack and lap cars came by in that draft group. William Scott up 5 places into 13th. Then it's Darnell Harrell, Montes de Osa, unfortunately having a poor run in the final laps of the race. And unfortunately for John Mollahan, Tony Cox, and Danny Eschleman, wasn't quite as good of a race. Danny Eschleman not taking to the start.
Speaking of good races, though, let's talk to the man who had the best race. Sean Hill, you're a winner at Talladega.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
So let's talk about a bunch of things. But first, let's get to that last tri-oval. Dylan Basin making the move to the outside. How nervous were you?
Yeah, I seen the run coming from a few cars back. My teammate was in 3rd there on the bottom, so I didn't know if I should just stick with the bottom or go up and block, but I decided to block because why not?
At any point, was the concern of, oh my gosh, what if we wreck? Or were you just like, yeah, I'm going to see what happens?
Yeah, well, top 7 positions paid that race, so I think if I went up and blocked and I actually got wrecked, I still probably would have finished in the money since we had a pretty big lead to the second pack. But yeah, Dylan, he made a good move, trying to go for it there. I don't blame him. Anyone would go for it, so props to him.
You had one of the best pushers in the game, one of the most successful drivers in the FEG PC races, Kenneth McCullough Jr., all over your back bumper. What was that experience like?
Yeah, Kenny's a really great guy, really good pusher in these things. I was telling my teammate I'm not that well of a pusher, so if I came off second on the pit stop sequence, it might not be good. But thanks to Kenny, I mean he's a hell of a driver, and props to him. He without him, this win definitely wouldn't have been possible.
All right. Well, I know you guys are racing more tonight. Congrats on the win. We'll let you get to it, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you.
All right. That is Sean Hill, the driver of the number 77 machine. And Reese, he came away victorious tonight. What a great race.
Yeah, I'm very happy with how things went there. I was expecting that it was going to be a bit of a crash fest, a caution fest, but I'm glad to have been proven wrong. That was some really well executed racing out there.
We encourage you to head over to FEG Custom PC, FEG CustomPC.com. They build iRacing ready PCs, and they advertise all over Facebook, so you may have seen them before. But I think we are done. So he's been Reese Gardner. I've been Derek Watson. That's been Ryan Bauer running the cameras and doing an awesome job. And you've been a great audience. So thank you so much, and congrats to Sean Hill. And we'll see you next time here live on GSRC.